The patch notes are out for Path of Exile 3.22 Trial of the Ancestors, and plenty of Exiles are pissed. 50% of the changes are for Ruthless, some Exiles scream. Dead game, others meme. I'm excited, some say in the hidden corners of the world or deep in the recesses of their own mind. What's the truth here, fellow Exiles? Here's my true, honest, and you know it, positive take on what we're getting for the next Path of Exile 1 expansion, with a little bit of introspection and retrospection at the end. Let's go. Of course, we're kicking off with the cons, and it's a big one I completely understand. The core game is undergoing very few balance changes. Both the Guardian and Chieftain ascendancies are being reworked, which we knew about from ExileCon, but other than that, there's nothing substantial being done. This screenshot is it. A few skill gem tweaks and a bug fix. No item balance, no other real ascendancy changes, not a ton of passive skill tree swapperoos and additions either. It's unfortunate, but the game's balance is in a great spot. While starters will probably remain the same for the most sane Exiles among us, I expect plenty of new builds to emerge 1 to 2 weeks into Trial of the Ancestors, especially given all the other content packed into the expansion. 3.22 hits with a brand new league mechanic vaguely reminiscent of an auto battler. Now, this could either be something you're going to love or absolutely hate, depending on its implementation. I'm in that same camp. I have no idea if I'm going to enjoy it or not. At the least, it looks like there will be 10 new mini-bosses, the chieftains of each Karuri tribe, a suite of new passive tree options with the tattoo system, plenty of uniques found throughout the tournament, and a powerful new crafting tool used to see the future of items while crafting. As someone who has never played an auto battler before, I'm cautiously optimistic. I've enjoyed GGG's take on the other genres in Path of Exile before, but I know some people might hate them terribly and see it as a mere distraction from the rest of the game, like some did with the Harvest minigame. Personally, the most riveting chunk of 3.22 now that we've seen the full patch notes is the Forbidden Sanctum's return. It's a win-win. Exiles who loved it are getting it back, you know, myself. Players who didn't get to play it will be able to play Sanctum in all its glory. I think. There has been a bit of mystery around the relics and whether or not all uniques will return. Grinding Gear Games said in the patch notes they've rebalanced every unique relic, so I'm really hoping the challenge runs like the no-hit Sanctum will return. And I hope they'll reward the coveted original Sin unique item. That was an absolutely awesome endgame challenge. We may not be getting a chunky Atlas content expansion, but Sanctum is a huge addition to the core game. It cannot be understated. Those who missed out are going to absolutely love or hate it. Yes, there's no real balance, as we said before, to pre-existing gems, but there are 14 brand new support gems arriving. Some of them, like Trauma Support, look to be build enabling for certain archetypes that have been somewhat struggling in Path of Exile, like Melee. Others definitely have meme potential. However, I'm determined the ingenious build makers out there will make them work somehow. Dreamcore has actually done quite a few videos on each of the new supports. Go check out his videos on his channel. Then, on top of the new support gems, a batch of novel Atlas passives are likely to unleash new endgame strategies and possibilities. I'm quite anticipating the new Maven passive that adds between 1 and 3 extra map bosses to your maps, the potential behind the revamped Val side areas, and yes, the node they knew they could tease in the trailer and get people hyped about, the Expedition single bomb node. There are also a few other new keystones that lower the barrier for entry for a couple content types like Delirium, Legion, and Blight. This is going to be great for refugees from Diablo 4. Additionally, I see a couple that need experimentation with them, like the keystone that essentially rids your maps of item quantity and replaces it entirely with item rarity. There's a bunch of curious stuff here. Another big positive but relatively obscured introduction in 3.22 are the 15 new uniques coming into Path of Exile, one of them being designed by the winner of the Crucible Boss Kill event. Although we saw a select few of them in the initial reveal of Trial of the Ancestors, we've not seen much else. Uniques can make a ton of new builds viable, even optimal, but without no real knowledge about the other 12 or so uniques, there's not much to say. I believe most of them will be available through the new league mechanic, with one of them possibly being found from Uber's, as it was designed by the one who conquered the Ruthless Uber Boss Kill event in Crucible League. Truly an unhinged totem exile. that one was. To round out the changes are a few of the quality of life improvements being added to PoE, like the fact that we can now press Alt to see the number of a certain currency contained in a window, including trade windows. Plus, 5 waves have been nerfed as an experience source. They'll still likely be used to push to 100, but hitting 100 surely won't be as easy and as fast as it was before. I'm saying this as someone who has used 5 ways to hit 100 in the past a few times. There will also be 3 unique Val side areas added to the game. I'm curious what each of those will look like. Maybe they'll include some ultimatum content, even ultimatum uniques? That would be pretty cool. There's a few new melee ignite clusters on the tree too, near the bottom of the Marauder area, which is perfect for my potential starter, an Infernal Blow Chieftain build. All right, moving on from the core Path of Exile changes, I'll give it to you straight. I'll give it to you fast, fellow Exiles. Players are far too fixated on the Ruthless changes. My good gods, people are going absolutely berserk about them. Yes, there's a slew of them. Yes, they're more than numerical adjustments. Still, the amount of development time spent on them is likely very minimal compared to the vast swath of new content added to the overall Path of Exile 1 game. It definitely sucks that there's no new definitive balance changes to skill and support gems, items, or more ascendancies. When I spoke with Dreamcore before ExileCon, we thought a large batch of ascendancy classes were going to be revamped. We were quite wrong. Triple G seems to be focusing on adding new content to the game in the form of league mechanics, the big Sanctum edition, and tiny bits and pieces elsewhere, like all the new Val side area stuff. Balance appears secondary. It's probably because they see the game as being in a very good place. So instead of allocating resources to balancing an already balanced game, they're focusing purely on new content for the developers working on PoE 1. All those other developers, they're grinding away on Path of Exile 2. They're not putting all of their time into Ruthless. It's PoE 1, PoE 2, probably PoE Mobile, and then Ruthless. Does it suck we're not getting huge balance patches as we have in the past for PoE 1? Yes, of course. Is it likely to change in the future? I'm not of the mindset it will. After this league and Crucible League, I'm guessing Ascendancy reworks will continue at this pace, and balance changes will also follow that cadence. All the balance work is going into Path of Exile 2. Enough content work is coming into PoE 1 to keep us sated until both games are out. Then what, fellow Exiles? Well, they're going to need to balance both. Until PoE 2 releases, it's clear the focus is on PoE 2, despite it being an unreleased game. It's getting the bulk of the developers. When it finally releases in late 2024 or sometime in 2025, that'll be the real test. That's when we'll find out if PoE 1 fades or bellows back stronger than ever before. Until then, of course, I'm going to continue to play PoE 1 because I have fun. I see all the possibilities enabled by the new content and don't need existing content to be reworked or tweaked. I don't see PoE as something like Dota 2, a game I played an absolute ton of, we're talking like 10,000 hours, where many tweaks need to be made every single patch. Due to the chunky content updates that arrive with PoE 1 patches, all that is just an extra in my own eyes. But that's just me, like I just said. It might not be you. If you're not enjoying PoE 1 and are disappointed, critique kindly, loudly if you'd like, but don't feel forced to play. Only play if you have fun. I cannot stress this enough. If you do decide to play, or if you want to see someone truly fail on a melee chieftain build on League Start, I'll be streaming next Friday when 3.22 Trial of the Ancestors launches. I hope to see you in my Twitch chat. Huge shout out to all these fellow Exiles who directly support the channel via Patreon or a YouTube membership. You are the most unhinged Exiles among us. If you'd like to see more videos, like, subscribe, and share this video with your own exiled friends. You can even join our Discord server. I'm on Twitch now a bit too. As I just said, check Talkative Try out there. I will be streaming League Start or dive into these juiced up videos on your screen. Every single minute you watch helps the channel grow. To all those who've watched until this ultimate moment, I actually like Ruthless. Slay me. Tala Moana.